We wanted to take a moment to note the passing of Don Cornelius, the creator of Soul Train. He died today in Los Angeles at 75, an apparent suicide.
Soul Train wasn't just some TV show, it was a full-on vibe. Flashing lights, slick dance moves, and music that hit your soul filled every episode. Every weekend, it brought Black culture, style, and pure soul straight into America's living rooms. But behind all those smiles and perfect dance lines, things weren't always smooth. In fact, there was one insane moment so wild, so shocking, that producers did everything they could to hide it. This wasn't some tiny blooper, it rattled the whole show to its core. Some insiders even say it played a major role in its eventual downfall. So what really went down on that stage? Why did the show get canceled, and why did that episode never air? Stick around as we uncover the infamous scene Soul Train wanted erased, the chaos it caused behind the cameras, and how it flipped the future of the show forever. Soul Train didn't just ride trends, it started a cultural movement. It was more than TV. It was a celebration of Black music, fashion, and energy that you could feel in your bones. And it all kicked off in Chicago. Back in the mid-1960s, WCIU, a local TV station, started running dance shows like Kitty Go and Red Hot and Blues. The shows were a smash, especially the ones featuring mostly African-American dancers. That's where the idea of Soul Train first sparked. People even say Soul Train was to American bands what champagne is to seltzer water, pure luxury and flavor. Don Cornelius, a radio host in Chicago, was already running live music events at local high schools, calling them the Soul Train. The crowds went wild, and Cornelius saw the magic. He knew he had something big on his hands. Don Cornelius believed that Black music and talent deserved their spotlight, and soon that dream exploded into reality. With a shoestring budget and black and white cameras, Soul Train premiered on WCIU on August 17, 1970. It was a live afternoon show, raw and simple, but bursting with heart. The first episode featured Jerry Butler, unforgettable highlights and pure emotion that connected instantly with viewers. Cornelius brought energy to the mic, while local dancer Clinton Gent helped out on stage before stepping behind the scenes. But Chicago was only the beginning. Something massive was brewing. Before we dive into the bigger picture, we need to talk about the man who gave the show its soul. Soul Train wasn't just a show, it was a weekly ritual. Every Saturday, families tuned in, waiting for that iconic theme song to hit. For millions, the week didn't feel complete without it. The lights, the moves, the cool host, everything combined into a must-watch experience. But beyond entertainment, it gave Black music, fashion, and culture a national stage. People finally saw themselves on screen, not as extras, but front and center. The show even launched careers, with stars like Jodie Watley and Rosie Perez cutting their teeth on its stage. Over time, it became the longest-running TV show of its kind, a cultural powerhouse. Behind it all was Don Cornelius. He wasn't just the face of the show, he was the mind, the style, the calm cool that anchored everything. When he passed in 2012, fans nationwide dressed up in 70s clothes and danced in tribute, proving just how much Soul Train meant to people. But how did Cornelius come up with the idea, and what made it grow into a legend? The dancers weren't just moving, they were bringing every song to life, and viewers at home felt like they were part of something completely new. Nelson George, author of The Hippest Trip in America, remembered those early days like they happened yesterday. He said he and his sister would park themselves in front of the TV every Saturday morning in Brooklyn. At first, it was a tiny black and white screen, then a slightly bigger color one, but the magic didn't change. They watched every move, memorized the grooves, and later that night at school dances or block parties, everyone tried to copy what they'd seen. It wasn't just TV, it was a full-on cultural takeover. George pointed out that the show wasn't just about music, it taught people how to dress, how to dance, and even how to rock their hair. Afros, bold colors, California style, it all exploded through the screen, straight into living rooms across America. Soul Train didn't just entertain, it brought joy, unity, and a sense of pride. But Soul Train didn't arrive in a vacuum. It came during one of the most turbulent times in American history. When it started in 1971, the country was still wrestling with the echoes of the 1960s. Civil rights protests had rocked cities, and for the first time, black mayors were being elected in major cities. The fight for equality was far from over. Into that charged world, Soul Train burst onto screens. But instead of focusing on pain or struggle, it radiated joy, pride, celebration. Soul Train wasn't just popular, it was unstoppable and powerful, and none of it would have happened without Don Cornelius. His smooth, calm voice made him unforgettable, a presence you couldn't ignore. He was always imparting wisdom and style, signing off with, "We wish you love." One legendary moment happened when James Brown appeared on the show. Cornelius turned to him and said, "You're still the baddest out here." Brown laughed, saying he was just trying to keep up with the dancers. Then Cornelius turned to the crowd. "How about it for the Soul Train dancers?" The cheers that erupted could have shook the building. No matter what was going on, Cornelius stayed cool, calm, and in control. Michelle Martin from NPR once said, "He never broke a sweat. He was like a pilot guiding the show no matter what was happening, from local hit to national icon." Because the show crushed it in Chicago, Cornelius dreamed bigger. He teamed up with Johnson Products, the makers of Afro Sheen, to sponsor Soul Train's move into syndication. That meant the show could now reach cities far beyond Chicago. At first, only 7 cities picked it up: Atlanta, Birmingham, Cleveland, Detroit, Houston, Los Angeles, and Philadelphia. But that was all it took. People couldn't get enough. By the end of the first season, all 25 target cities were broadcasting Soul Train. The magic had officially spread nationwide. At first, Cornelius hosted both the Chicago and Los Angeles versions of Soul Train, but it wasn't long before he focused solely on the national show. Clinton Gent stayed behind in Chicago for a while, hosting locally before the station just ran reruns of older episodes. Cornelius, though, remained the iconic face of Soul Train, and for good reason. He once famously signed off with "Love, Peace, and Soul," a line that fans still remember today. That simple phrase became legendary, capturing everything the show was about. But with fame came pressure, and the show was about to go through even bigger changes. From 1971 to 1993, Don Cornelius hosted every single episode, except one. That rare exception came at the end of Season 4 when Richard Pryor took over. Other than that, Cornelius was always there, smooth, calm, and in total control. In the mid-1980s, Soul Train took a major step forward when Tribune Entertainment took over syndication. That meant more cities, more viewers, and bigger reach. Cornelius stayed on as the host and creative mastermind, guiding the show as it grew into a national powerhouse. After 22 legendary seasons, Cornelius stepped away from hosting in 1993. He remained behind the scenes, but new hosts stepped into the spotlight, bringing fresh energy. Comedian Maestro Clark arrived in 1997, followed by Shamar Moore in 2000 and Dorian Gregory in 2003. These changes kept the show alive and evolving, though some fans still missed Cornelius's cool presence. He had a unique way of connecting with the audience that was almost impossible to replace. Cornelius wasn't just a host, he was the brains behind Soul Train. He had vision, a deep baritone voice, sharp style, and an even sharper business mind. What set him apart was his understanding of the streets and the pulse of Black America. As writer Hanif Abdul-Rakib put it, Don had an eye toward the streets, giving him a distinct understanding of what Black viewers wanted and needed. Everything about him oozed cool. His confident stance, afro, and unmatched swagger gave Soul Train its undeniable hip factor. Erica Blount-Denor explained it best: the show had its edge because Don Cornelius was the edge. According to Abdur, Don Cornelius's thinking was simple: how can I keep this mine? Not every city aired Soul Train at the same time. In places like Oklahoma City, fans sometimes watched episodes a week late compared to other cities. But no matter the delay, people tuned in like clockwork. It became appointment TV. One fan, Peter Murray, remembered watching with his whole family in Vermont. In a mostly white town, Soul Train gave them a sense of connection. He said, "To be able to see others that looked like us was truly a beautiful experience. If you missed it, you missed out." By Monday, everyone had something to say about the show. And let's talk about the dancers. These kids stole the show every single week. Young, stylish, full of energy, they weren't professional dancers. These were everyday kids picked straight from the crowd. They brought their own moves, their own clothes, and their own vibe to the dance floor. Erica Blount-Denor said it best, "There was nothing like Soul Train on TV where regular neighborhood kids were suddenly the stars. These were the kids who hung out at rec centers, danced with friends, and dreamed big. And suddenly they were on national TV showing off their moves to millions." Don Cornelius didn't just give professional artists a platform, he gave everyday dancers a place to be themselves. Even the fans noticed. Cheryl's song became an instant favorite. Her long hair nearly brushed the floor, and her moves stood out week after week. People at home tried to copy her every step. The dancers weren't just part of the show, they became stars in their own right. Monique Mo Chambers, another dancer, said the team felt like family. She said, "We would clown around and just have a good time. On TV, it looked huge, but in reality, the stage was smaller than most imagined." Full Force member B-Legged Lou recalled, "The set isn't as big as I thought, but everybody's rockin' and rollin'." These dancers brought energy, passion, and creativity, turning Soul Train into more than a music show, a full-blown experience. The stage hosted some of the biggest names in music: Aretha Franklin, James Brown, Outkast, Mariah Carey, you name it, they all wanted in. For Black performers especially, Soul Train was home. It was a place where they finally felt seen and celebrated on a national stage. The connection between dancers and musicians was real, electric, and unforgettable. Author Christopher Lehman said it perfectly. The dancers and performers had a symbiotic relationship. Both sides needed each other. The singers brought the music, the dancers brought the energy, and together they created magic. A perfect example? The Jackson 5 in 1973 performing the robot dance. They actually learned it from the Soul Train dancers themselves. That's how tight the bond was between performers and the crowd. And there were other unforgettable moments, like Marvin Gaye sitting on stage, chatting with fans like they were neighbors. Don Cornelius's voice had an almost magnetic power. Viewers couldn't take their eyes off him. It was like watching a sermon in a church, Erica Blount-Denor said. "Every time I watch it, I have to stop. You're completely taken in by him," she added. And she wasn't wrong. Every performance on Soul Train was more than just a song. It was a moment, a memory that stayed with fans for life. But nothing lasts forever. When Don Cornelius stepped down, the show started to shift. Styles evolved, and the music slowly moved from classic soul and R&B into the newer sounds of hip-hop. Even as the genre changed, Soul Train stayed true to its mission, celebrating Black talent, Black culture, and the artists who brought it all to life. By the time Soul Train hit its 35th season in 2006, the magic was fading. The once powerful show that had brought soul, R&B, and hip-hop to millions was losing its grip. After the 2005-2006 season, no new episodes were produced. Instead, the network aired old clips from the 1970s and 80s under the new title, The Best of Soul Train. For longtime fans, it was a clear warning sign. Something was wrong. Ratings were plummeting. Nielsen numbers had fallen below 1.0, a shocking drop for a show that once commanded millions of viewers. Most stations airing Soul Train were now small independent channels or Fox affiliates, many of which moved the show from its iconic Saturday afternoon slot to late night hours, making it even harder for fans to tune in. Then came another blow. Tribune Entertainment, which had helped distribute the show for decades, announced it was shutting down in 2007. Soul Train suddenly had no major backer. Don Cornelius tried to save it, striking a deal with Trifecta Entertainment and Media, but the magic was slipping away. Things got physical. Rosie Perez remembered it clearly. The only thing I could grab was the two-piece Kentucky Fried Chicken dinner they gave us as payment. In a moment of frustration, she hurled a greasy chicken wing at Don Cornelius and hit him square on the head. I was mortified, she admitted. Nelson George explained the tension behind that wild moment. Cornelius had wanted Rosie to join a music group he was putting together, and when she said no, things fell apart. She had been one of his favorite dancers for years, but after that, their relationship soured. Still, Cornelius stayed strict about the show's image. He allowed some dance moves, but anything he felt was too extreme had to go. Singers even had to redo performances if their lip sync wasn't perfect. He demanded Soul Train look polished, sharp, and professional every week. And Cornelius wasn't just a host, he was a savvy businessman. Like Desi Arnaz with I Love Lucy, he owned Soul Train outright. That was almost unheard of back then, especially for a black man in television. He found sponsors, worked with independent stations across the country, and built a national phenomenon from scratch. Nelson George noted that Soul Train didn't explode nationwide overnight. In some cities, it aired late at night, even near midnight, but slowly, city by city, the show grew. Unfortunately, Cornelius's later years were difficult. He faced a rocky marriage, a painful divorce, and personal struggles he kept private. In 2012, he took his own life. Nelson George said no one saw it coming. Even longtime partner Clarence Avant had met him just a week before, and Cornelius seemed fine. Others sensed something was off, but the suddenness of his death shocked the world. And yet, what he left behind was monumental. For over 30 years, Soul Train shaped culture, style, and music. And fans still remember his signature send-off, calm and steady, "We wish you love, peace, and soul." Some dancers were pushed to fight for the best spots near the stage or on the risers. The pressure was intense, but things got even darker behind the scenes. Reports surfaced that Don Cornelius, while married, had inappropriate relationships with some of the dancers. The Los Angeles Times covered the stories, adding fuel to the fire. Beneath the glitz and glamour, Soul Train had serious issues. The public saw a clean, stylish show, but inside, some performers felt used, overlooked, and disrespected. That tension played a huge role in the show's slow decline. And trouble didn't stop there. The next storm involved Soul Train's videos and who could share them. Cornelius was strict. He didn't want fans uploading clips to YouTube, and he blocked anyone from selling old episodes on VHS or DVD without permission. Copyright rules were enforced, and many videos were taken down. For younger fans, used to instant access online, Soul Train suddenly felt unreachable. At the same time, the music was changing. The early years celebrated soul and R&B, but by the 1980s and 1990s, hip-hop was taking over. Cornelius admitted he didn't fully connect with the genre. He once told rapper Curtis Blow directly that it wasn't his style, and he confessed groups like Public Enemy even scared him. While he still invited hip-hop acts on the show, it was clear his heart wasn't in it. Dancer and choreographer Rosie Perez noted he didn't approve of some East Coast dance styles, especially moves he found too suggestive. Hip-hop was added because it was popular, but that upset longtime fans who had grown up with classic Soul Train. By the early 1990s, Cornelius finally stepped down as host. In 1993, after more than 20 years, he passed the mic to new hosts while staying on as executive producer, but nothing felt the same. Later hosts like Maestro Clark and Shamar Moore came and went, but no one captured the magic Cornelius had brought. Without him, the show struggled to find its heart. In 2006, after 35 seasons, Soul Train aired its last episode. But the love for the show never faded. The show gave people a place to feel seen, heard, and proud, Erica Blount-Denor said. It showcased Black joy in everyday life. It wasn't just about celebrities, it was about real people dancing after a long week of work. Soul Train gave local talent a national stage and didn't stop at music. It welcomed actors, writers, and comedians. As Christopher Lehman explained, Soul Train proved that TV could be diverse, inclusive, and still entertaining. By 2008, the brand had new hands and new hopes. Cornelius sold Soul Train to Mad Vision Entertainment, a media and publishing group. They opened the Soul Train archives and launched an official YouTube channel in 2009, making classic clips accessible to new fans. Later that year, Mad Vision partnered with Time Life for DVD releases and worked with BET to bring back the Soul Train Music Awards on Centric, along with reruns on Centric and Bounce TV. In 2011, Magic Johnson and Intermedia Partners took over Soul Train. Plans were ambitious: a movie, a live stage show, and even a cruise. Johnson's channel, Aspire TV, aired reruns, giving Soul Train new life in fresh spaces. Cornelius remained involved in documentaries and special events, but sadly, in 2012, he died by suicide. His passing shocked the world, but the legacy he created continued to thrive. In 2013, BET launched the Soul Train Cruise, and by 2016, Paramount Global owned all rights, including the episodes, award show, and cruise. Soul Train was often called the Black American Band. While Cornelius had once modeled the show on American Bandstand, he wanted it to stand on its own, and it did. In 1973, Dick Clark tried to copy the show with Soul Unlimited, but Cornelius, with help from Jesse Jackson, fought back, and ABC canceled it after just a few episodes. Cornelius's vision survived, but eventually time, change, and controversy brought the original Soul Train to a close. Even though the weekly episodes are gone, the Soul Train spirit lives on. The music, the fashion, the moves, the joy, it still inspires. Could a show like Soul Train ever happen again today? That's up to us to decide. If you loved this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more incredible Hollywood history and celebrity stories.